we'd like to call this workshop meeting to session. At this time, we have the agenda in front of us.
Yes, and Madam Mayor, I need to make a motion to amend the agenda to go into closed session at the end of it under 143-318.11, closed session. A3.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. If Buddy Fowler at this time would lead us in our invocation.
Sure, let's stand, please. Bow our heads. Our Father, we're truly thankful for the many blessings you've brought our way. We're thankful for all the blessings you've done for the country, Father. We're still in need, Father, and we always look up to you and for your guidance and your help. Father, we ask you to continue to be with the families of those that are overseas and serving our country. Father, be with those here at home as well. We ask you to guide us today as we make our decision, Father. We ask all these things in your most precious name. Amen.
And if Mayor Pro-Tem Don Helms will lead us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so the first item on the agenda is the alcohol ordinance suspension, and I'm going to call on Ms. Jody Shepherd to come up and present.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and Council. In front of you, you have a resolution providing a temporary suspension for the town of Surf City from our ordinances for the consumption of malt beverages and unfortified wine, as well as the possession of open containers and malt beverages and unfortified wine for special events. So what we are asking is for a temporary suspension to allow this external special event to be able to have alcohol consumption within the streets and right-of-ways in the contained area. So on your third page, you will see that there's two event maps that are listed. One that is showing from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the parameters of the special event in October. And then the second image, you will see where that zone does move to a smaller area, and that zone is from 5 to 9 p.m. So we're asking to have the exemption, so that way the public for that event will be able to move freely amongst the event within the designated area.
Anyone have any questions for Jody?
We did move forward with this particular event at this capacity last year, so again, we're bringing it back to the table for approval from council.
Do you need, are we going to take action, just a consensus on this?
Yes.
Everybody in agree?
You would agree?
Okay. Any more discussion? All right, so at this time, you're good, Jody.
Thank you.
Next item is the North Carolina Public Beach and Coastal Waterfront Access Program for a grant resolution, and Carla will present.
This is a grant that we want to apply for to assist with the public access, specifically at Broadway Street, to make it more accessible for handicapped and elderly. And the application would be requesting total grant funds of $14,500. The funds requested for the grant is $10,875, so we would be agreeing to match that by 25% at $3,625. Just need consensus if you're okay to move forward with the application.
Any questions?
I make a motion, we approve that.
All right,
I'll
we
second it.
just need a consensus to.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Thank you, Carla. Item number 3 is resolution surplus for 305 North New River Drive, and our town manager, Kyle, will present.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and Council. This resolution is to specifically declare the property at 305 North New River, which is the old police department, in preparation for the auction process. As you recall, at our last meeting, we discussed this, and we have talked about setting the reserve for that to where it is in line with the recent appraisal. So we will need this resolution for surplus for that declaration, and then that specifically notes the online auction process that will be utilized for the property.
Anyone have any questions concerning the property?
I'll make a motion, we approve
It's just the consensus.
Second it.
it. The consensus, I'm for it.
Yeah, consensus is
Yeah.
fine.
There
Yep.
we go. There we go.
All right.
And I will note, Madam Mayor, that, with action on the 1st of August, we will turn right around and that'll start that process for 30 days. But all that information will be certainly put out to the public.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the terraces, Phase 6, Kyle, you will,
Yes, I'll give the brief overview, and Price is here also to answer any questions that may come up. But the terraces final plat Phase 6 is being requested to be approved. Phase 6 is comprised of 7 lots within the terraces. The first 5 phases consisted of 63 lots. So Phase 6 will be lots 49, 50, 54, 55, 56, 64, and 63. Staff has been in contact with the applicant to make sure that everything is in place, and and bond documents are completed for any remaining work. So to my knowledge, everything is in order for council to consider the request and move forward with this.
You need a motion?
just need a consensus.
Just a consensus.
I'm for it.
I'm for it.
All right, thank you. Good seeing you, Charles.
Bye, Charles.
Committee board appointments, and Carla, you going to present that?
We have an opening for Board of Adjustment and also for Planning Board alternate. You all have been sent the applications.
So you need one for each?
There's one regular member opening on Board of Adjustment and one alternate member opening on Planning Board.
We each have had a chance to review the applicants. Do we want to move forward in filling these seats at this time?
I make a motion that we appoint to the planning board Daniel Blevins, and to the Board of Adjustment, Mr. Conklin.
I'll second that.
Are we actually voting, or we're just on consensus today? Kyle?
Do either.
Okay,
That's,
No, you can't do a consensus to appoint.
okay.
yeah, but to
Either-
move it to August
Move it to
1,
August
that's
one.
up
Oh, yeah,
to,
sure, yeah.
that is totally up to the board if you want to make that decision.
We'll keep everything on the August meeting. Is there any discussion? Motion carries. Okay, all those in favor, I should say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Jim Conway and Daniel Blevins will be
That
put.
was Conway and Conklin.
Blevins and Conklin is what he
I
said.
mean, I'm sorry, Blevins and Conklin.
Conklin?
Thank you.
Yeah, Blevins and Conklin.
You said Mr. I thought it was Mr. Conway, not Mr. Conklin. It's Sharon Conklin, so it's two different people.
It's Mr.
He said
Yeah.
Conklin.
No,
Conklin.
yeah, confused.
So the first one is who?
Blevins.
Blevins, Daniel
For
for the
planning
board.
board?
For the planning board.
And the other one was?
Conway for.
No, the
No,
other one was
Conklin.
Conklin.
Is there
Conlon.
an Board of Adjustments seat and a alternate seat both available?
Yes,
And that's what you sent out, correct?
yes.
And then why are we talking about one seat then if there's both were sent out?
There's one regular seat
But
open.
you sent out, there were 2 seats we were supposed to vote on today, is that correct?
Have the option.
With the option.
option
So I'd
for
like
that
to have
one.
I'd like to
They-
fall through that option.
Board of Adjustment can have alternates, but is not required.
Well, it's pretty smart that they do have an alternate. Just like the planning board, it's pretty smart they have one too.
So are we voting on this now, or are we
No.
setting this up to vote on Tuesday?
This was going on consensus, as far as consensus, and then we go on
Well,
the first.
I'm not consenting to it right now, then I want to discuss it more, because we're not in agreement right now on it.
I don't think we're voting on it. I think we're just saying we're going to vote on it on Tuesday.
Well, actually, what they do is they decide who the person's going to be, then they just stick it on Tuesday, and then it goes on the consent agenda. And I won't agree with it for the consent agenda neither. So I don't want that to be. So I'd like to,
So your discussion is what?
well, my discussion is I'd like to fill the alternate seat and the regular seat on the Board of Adjustment. We have 2 applicants. I'd like to fill both of those positions with our 2 applicants. There's no reason we shouldn't fill it. For the record, I don't appoint people to seats that I like or don't like. I do it based on qualifications and their criteria. And when somebody wants to volunteer in our city for something, it's an honor. And if nobody else has applied, then you take the person that's applied and you go with those individuals, because those are the ones that are sticking their neck on the line and want to be involved. You probably don't know either one of those people, correct?
I know one of them,
Which one do you know?
Blevins.
I'm talking about the Board of Adjustments, I'm talking.
No, I do
Conklin
not.
and Conklin, so you don't know either one, okay? You know one of the 2. Buddy knows, I don't know if you know one, you know both?
No, I
I only know one.
only know one.
So that's what I'm saying, is so I'd either like to have a discussion about it. I'm okay with Conklin, I don't know her, but I read her application, she looked well. Huh?
It's a him,
Conklin, is it?
yes.
Well, you're going
Sheridan,
against what
got
you
it.
just said, Jeremy. You
Yeah.
said you don't vote for people if not, but yet you've only chosen the person that you say you know.
I said I would be okay based on Sheridan's resume. I read the application, I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with Conway's also because of his application, he seems quite qualified. So,
So is there an agreement that we can move forward and fill the alternate seat with the other applicant?
I think what the intention, what I gather the intentions were to just basically fill the seats on the boards and do the alternates at a later time if we need to. That's what I thought Don's motion was, by appointing, or referring these 2, Daniel Blevins and the Conklin gentleman.
well, I didn't understand that, so I don't agree with it, yeah.
Just filling the vacancy that we have to have so many on the Board of Adjustment, and we're missing one. And then on the Board of, the Planning Board, we need one more member.
Right, I'm okay with the planning, there's, 5 applicants for the planning board, or 6 applicants. I
Yeah.
read them, and I think Dan Blevins is the most qualified. So, but there's 2 seats, there's an alternate seat and a regular seat open, and I'm only wanting to move forward on filling both seats. There's
Is it a
absolutely,
requirement that both seats are filled? Is it required?
We're,
Shall
no,
have 5 members. It's not required to have an
Board of
alternate.
Adjustments.
Well, then
If I may, Mayor and Council, on the Board of Adjustment, it is critical to have 5 because a variance requires a 4/5 vote. If you only have 4, it has to be a unanimous vote to get a variance.
we'd have to appoint one person, but we do not have to appoint an alternate.
Shall have 5. If one cannot show up and we have a meeting, then you're having to postpone a meeting if you do not fill that seat.
So you need the alternate.
nah.
You don't, not based on what they just said, it's recommended, but you don't have to have it.
Purpose of an alternate then.
In case someone can't make,
Right.
if I may, my experience has been, and it happens 30% of the time,
Right. So
if someone can't make it, you call the alternate to come in, so you have 5 people. We've had meetings before where we've only had 4 people, and so we ask the applicant, that we give them the choice, particularly if it's a variance, to either go forward with the understanding they have to have 4 out of 4 votes, or to postpone it until we can have 5 members there. The best practice would be to have at least 5, and I don't think it's a bad idea to have an alternate.
because that committee only meets 4 times a year, basically, right? So if you get your 4th time for the year and all of a sudden somebody can't make it and you don't have an alternate, now you have to cancel a meeting. And if that comes into December, let's say, then the meeting has to be canceled till January.
What is, you as the leader of the council, what is your recommendation?
I would suggest that us to fill all the positions, including the alternate. So maybe we should just move forward today and with a vote, and instead of putting this on the consent agenda.
I tend to agree with you, Madam Mayor, to go ahead and have a vote today on filling the positions, and since the discussion comes in the alternate, we can discuss that at a later date and decide on the alternates.
Okay, so if we're going to discuss it, we have two applications. One would fill the alternate, one would fill the seat. What other discussion would there need to be? Unless somebody doesn't personally like someone, and that's the reason you're doing that.
That's an assumption that you're making.
Well, you're only making this decision because somebody told you not to vote for Conway. I'm not being
Well,
rude.
tell me what I'm doing.
Okay, well,
That's an assumption you're making also.
I can
Right. Can we get
promise you.
a vote, a motion to move forward one way or the other?
I make a motion, we fill the regular boards with Daniel Blevins in the planning, and as Don mentioned, the Coughlin gentleman on the Board of Adjustments, and fill the alternates at a later time.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. I think we just made that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
Opposed.
motion carries.
Okay, now, do you mean a motion to go into closed session?
It's on to you, my friend.
Yes.
I make a motion, we go into closed session at this time.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. We are now in closed session.
this time that we go back into open session.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And let there be known that no action was taken during closed session. At this time, I think Kyle has a department updates for
Yeah,
us.
yes, Madam Mayor, I'll go through this. This is our quarterly departmental update for your work session, so I'll try to get through this as quick as I can. Administration side, again, just wanted to thank council for the opportunity to attend the Public Executive Leadership Academy at UNC Chapel Hill. The second week of that academy will be the actual second week in August, so I will be out again to complete that process. Yesterday, we held our pre-bid meeting for the South Shore Stormwater Project. That went well. The additional coordination with DOT will continue on that with the resurfacing. So just as a reminder, from basically the South Topsail down to South Shore to the Topsail Beach line, that will all be resurfaced this fall. So it's a big DOT project in town. So we're looking forward to that. Held interviews this week to fill the communications specialist position. We have not landed on a candidate yet, but we are working through that process. I did receive notification yesterday afternoon that we did not receive the funding for Phase 4 of the RCCP. Unfortunately, that was about a $160,000 grant application. We will seek other funding opportunities to address the high priority sites within that. That was Phase 4. We had received funding Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3. So,
Where's Phase 4 located?
well, we were going to do the site up at Mecklenburg and North Topsail to implement the grid pavers within the street and then the bioswales within the right-of-ways. So we'll be holding our first meeting for the Recruitment and Retention Committee today, actually at 11 o'clock. Just wanted to sort of formally introduce Mr. Gabe Thumb here in the audience. Gabe came to Town Hall and was seeking an opportunity for internship. He spoke with Carla, and Carla sent him my way. Emailed a couple times asking what his outcome of an internship would be. So he came in yesterday, and we put him right to work. Gabe is a rising freshman at UNC Chapel Hill. He was the valedictorian at Topsail High School and will be majoring in political science there when he goes in the fall. We're also working on developing our inventory and cost estimates for the Vitex eradication program, preparing us for the grant funding application through the Coast Storm Damage Mitigation Fund this fall, this winter. Community development planning, 15 projects in various phases of TRC. The zoning ordinance update was awarded to Withers Ravenel. The contract had been approved and sent over. Staff continues working on the right-of-way project. Enforcement will begin in Zone 1 within the next couple of weeks. And then they've begun making a list of sites that are not in compliance. Also, the East Coast Greenway, you all reviewing and approving that May 19th. DOT project updates, got several projects in various phases. The R5900 project is the quadrant system to improve 50-210 intersection. And then H193591 is the potential new 2-lane roadway from 210 connecting all the way down to JH Batts. The 5900 project, again, going through the various phases of that. R5899, which is the Watts Landing intersection, that's the roundabout there. Current right-of-way date is October 1, 2024, and then let date is March 18th, 2027. They've already been working with our utilities department and water and sewer locates on that project. And then the Surf City Topsail Beach multi-use path feasibility study continues on. We have provided our comments on the conceptual plan. This is the replacing the sidewalk along South Topsail, South Shore, all the way through Topsail Beach with the multi-use path. These are just a quick list of all the projects within the TRC process. Emergency management, so we now have direct access to the town's weather station. So you can go to surfcitync.gov/weather, and that will give you a direct read from our unit out here on the tower. UV and solar radiation sensor installation on the weather station, the countywide radio project. There's an effort with the county to coordinate the radio system, so we're working directly with county emergency management, fire and EMS on that project. And then, just the other night, we activated and partially staffed the EOC, so Chief Voorhees, James and I were in here, had come back to respond to that issue, which could have been a lot worse. Thankfully, that young gentleman was found a couple hours after he was reported missing. So a whole host of agencies to thank for that. Everybody was right on top of it, including emergency management here in Surf City to set up this building and then having a command post out at Fairytale Lane. So very appreciative of our partners in that process. And then, James is always monitoring various weather things. We've been sending some stuff out to our employees about the heat. It's just been hot outside. Everybody understands that. We did finally get some traction on our 700 megahertz repeaters. Those are being programmed and will be installed on site this week. EM and IT staff completed the fiber installation at the tower and can now begin developing the remote site access component of the project. Facilities and grounds, we hired another Mr. Lingle on the facility side. They've been monitoring the new door replacements, accesses 18, 19, and Soundside Park, doing access repairs, new handrails at Access 24, new steps at Access 7. They're going to do a relocation of the shower at Access 14, just because of a congestion issue at the bottom there. New signage going up at the accesses, recycling signs, and new CAMA signs. So those are exciting. The recycling signs were all provided through a grant obtained through the state. So we're excited about that. HVAC systems, we've been having issues with the heat, condensation, so Chris is trying to work through that situation. And then working up HVAC project at the Welcome Center for additional installation on that. So the grounds crew, again, has been busy. We are constantly addressing our Hatteras ramps and sand tied to those for access to the beach. We regularly get calls about that, but they've been on top of it, making it a regular thing that we've been doing. Mowing, of course, day-to-day vegetation pickup, the minor street repairs, and then we were able to get a new third shift street sweeper part-time, so he's going to be working on sweeping our streets at night and trying to keep our streets looking good. Rollback service, again, the service is going well. They roll out the cans Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays for our town facilities, and then everything on the island according to our days on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. There have been overflow days that we've been having to do, but that's usually based on GFL schedule. Beautification enhancement, we've got that committee. We had a couple new members, started talking about projects and budget at the last meeting. They're gonna be doing the Welcome To signs. Those are at the north end of the island, south end, 210 and Highway 50. Streets project, we did get the cores. Those are being inspected right now, so a solution to repair 3rd Street is being developed, and Chris and I are going to meet immediately after this meeting to discuss that and process moving forward. I will follow up with council on what the decision is on that. We have auditors coming on August 21st for finance, so Melissa's been working hard on that. All the payroll with the cost of living adjustments and performance or merit-based pay have been implemented. Accounts payable is closing out all the purchase orders from the prior fiscal year. And then Melissa's been working on the S-Sheets program, which is basically we issue a check to somebody and they don't cash it. We have to follow up with that before we send it to North Carolina Treasury. This is the nccash.com. So if anybody even from any other entities, go check that. You might have something in there for you. Working on Powell bill reporting and cash reporting for local government commission, and then our June tax collection rate at 98.93%, so about as good as it possibly can be. Fire department, we finally got Inch 25 back. Working to get it back into service. That's the better quality of the 2 trucks that were residual from the new acquisition. So staff is remounting all the hose and tools to closely match the layout of the new engines for, I would assume, ease of operations and understanding. Boat lift, we're still waiting on the contract to finish the current job they're on, and then they'll be coming to Surf City. We're next on the list. Beach condition flag expansion. So we are working to secure the materials to get the project underway. Hoping to have a few more stations online prior to the end of the season. So we continue to work with a funding agency on a sponsorship program for each beach access for the flags. And they'll be bringing a proposal to council on that. Fire department's going to be holding the Kids Recruitment Academy in a few weeks. Lieutenant Van Pelt has been working hard to get this off the ground. So the academy is full, again, just similar to our other summer camp activities that go on. It's the demand is there, so we're happy to meet that in this fashion of maybe future firefighters. We'll see. So quite a bit of staffing changes over at the fire department. You can see the list here. I'm not going to go through all of these. First year of having the part-time ocean rescue swimmers, dedicated staff. So we're not fulfilling that dual role of being on the beach and then potentially getting on a truck and fighting fires or other rescue missions that they undertake. So if you see them out there, say hi. HR, we've got again, as I mentioned, the recruitment and retention committee. So we're going to have a series of meetings with a committee to start brainstorming ideas. Then we'll synthesize that and develop a program, things that may just be policy changes, maybe some fiscal impact, but really just trying to look at how are we recruiting employees, how are we getting them through the hiring process, are we efficient, and then also once they are an employee of Surf City, how can we make the quality of life better in order to meet the demands of the service provided from staff and from the town to our residents and visitors. Continue to work with EM on risk management program, training a backup person to administer NeoGov. It's a pretty complex system. Working with LGFCU on possible grants for the town. We had a great event this week with LGFCU, or Civic Credit Union. I think we've established a good partnership there and reached out to them after the event to not just say thank you, but we think there's additional opportunity just for education of employees and council if you want to participate of some financial management things that a lot of people just don't understand, and I feel strongly that you get somebody on a good financial path, and understand that a career in Surf City can be beneficial for you in the future. Hopefully keep their eye and vision on the long term as opposed to paycheck to paycheck. So ongoing product review and personnel handbook, constantly additional forms and processes on NeoGov. We got an EAC, Employee Appreciation Committee, coming up. The event will be by Beach Money for employees August 7th and September 18th. I think this will be similar to last year. They provided free ice cream for employees that they could go on their own time to go receive that. I think that was very well received. So we didn't have to get everybody together at one time. They could do it, when they could. So a lot of IT work going on. I don't want to go through everything, but Jason and Chris have been staying busy on that. Surveillance equipment, water plant, utilities, wastewater, community center, making sure we have access to what's going on in the facilities. Again, PRT, 3rd of July, what a great event that was. July is also, we had a proclamation at the council meeting for National Parks and Rec Month. Go visit a park if you haven't been there in a while. There's probably a new feature you weren't aware of that's out there, so go check it out. I know we have a dedication of the visual board coming up too the next week or so. Earl G and Inez, we know that that's at the 90% plans. We had our express permitting with stormwater, so there are some comments on back. Consultant will address those comments and resubmit. Same thing with erosion control. We continue conversation with lighting vendors, and then we are working with the regional consultant on grants for both phases 1 and 2, trying to look for some additional funds out there. We're also in current negotiations with our design build firm, meet with marketing consultant to go over digital promotions for the new fiscal year and additional tactics on that. Continue to work with staff on the upcoming Surf City Live event, July special event meeting update, interviews. Jody helped out with a communication specialist, so did James on that. Parks Rec and Facilities and Grounds are continuing to work on their budget. We separated their responsibilities out in the budgets, making it a little bit more clear and easy for them to administer, so they're continuing to work on that. And then we've got the maintenance projects to keep all of our facilities at top notch. Committee reports for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. They held both of those new committee meetings this month. So the new chair is Russ Lindsay for the Parks and Rec Committee, and I believe they'll be voting on a new chair for promotion, special events, and tourism at their next meeting. So Jody and her staff gave an introduction as to what the expectations of that committee are. Here's the Brock Woolard and the Eagle Scout project, the visual board out there. That's at the community center between that facility and the Bark Park. So you can go take a look at that. Summer camp continues to go, move on, and then the final preps for the Best Week Ever camp. That's for the older kids, I believe, for the last week before they go back to school. So upcoming programs and events, again, programming out of our department remains strong. Lots of things to do for our residents. Police department, we had our sea turtle release. Is a good picture, a little small there, but that was success. It continues to be successful implementing the standard which we set for the Sea Turtle Hospital. They seem to enjoy it. It gives expectations for police, for fire, for ocean rescue. So we do appreciate that. Coffee with a Cop and all their other community policing programs that the police department continues to implement. It's just statistics. June obviously was a very, very busy month for us. July statistics will probably exceed these. So they do remain busy out there, and certainly want them to stay safe. The utilities project updates, again, we had sent information out to council on this. So each one of these projects are in different phases of what's going on. The brine discharge, I will note we did not qualify for the ASADRA funding on that project. So Price and I have held our heads a little low. That's the two of our first grant applications we haven't gotten funded. So we'll continue to forge on with those projects. I did announce, we've got the federal House bill that's going through those committees and hopefully approval on that. All indications are that our local appropriation for wastewater will move forward with that. So that's being headed by Congressman Rouser's office. So that'll be a big help for us. Also, too, we're currently awaiting the state budget. Within that, we anticipate having some language on the low flow discharge. With that option, we have directly tied that with the master plan project, and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves with the master plan and the discharge project until we know what this low flow is going to be. That's going to be solely based on resource allocation for those projects. So looking forward to that, and I think we had a good process of meeting with our state legislators to exercise the importance of the situation here in Surf City, but also coastal North Carolina. It affects more than just us on that. Our folks up at Warden Smith, our lobbyists, had reached out to us also. They're asking for some cost estimates on, remember I'd spoke to you about the modeling on the discharge permit and having to go back and working with DEQ and some of the frustrations we had. It sounded like the legislators were going to look at potentially trying to get the town reimbursed through an additional appropriation on some of the funds that we've had to spend on trying to get that. This is the state's model, but yet Surf City has taken this to try to advance some of our wastewater projects. So Price will continue to work on the cost estimate for that. And that is the conclusion of the departmental update. So, and I'll email this out later on today. So.
Everybody's been busy. We appreciate all the employees what they do for us. Anything else? Anybody have anything else? Brian, you good?
Good, thank you.
All right, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Second it.
All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned.